Hi guys, welcome to my channel Raising L and L. In this video I want to talk about traveling with a baby or toddlers. In my case it's identical twin girls. They're currently 14 months old and I've been traveling from Germany to France. We fly from Germany to France approximately every 12 weeks because it's extremely important for us that the girls keep a strong relationship with their dad's side of the family, and they live in France. So the first time I flew with the girls, they were 4 months old, and so we've done a lot of flying. We've even been to Spain when they were 9 months old, and that was a much longer flight. And in all this flying I have had a lot of experience which have sometimes resulted in the girls literally crying the plane down and having the passengers look at us annoyed. Okay, and it's not easy to travel with a baby or toddlers, and that's why I'm making this video and hope that it will help you. So I will talk about what you need to consider and to know from booking your flights, checking in, going through security at the airport, surviving the wait at the airport, and surviving the flight itself. Okay, so when you've picked your destination, you need to book a flight, right? I recommend that you book a flight that coincides with your baby's naps. And if it's a long flight, try to book an overnight flight. This way you're guaranteed that your child will sleep most of the way, and that's a big relief for you because you don't have to entertain themselves, and maybe you can rest as well. Okay, and when it comes to checking in, there are two things you need to consider. So the first thing is that definitely you need to reserve seats. Second of all, make sure the seats are not at the back or in the front of the flight, because this is where you usually have the toilets, and it's usually very loud in the area where the toilets are because people go there to stretch, people go there to stand around and have conversations, and the doors of the toilets opening and closing each time will definitely interrupt your baby's sleep, and you'll end up with a sleep deprived baby that will end up crying. So you don't want that. And I know a lot of people say it's better to get the front row seats because you have a lot of leg space and maybe your child can stand. But if your child is not going to be able to sleep, that's definitely not a good idea. Okay, so the second thing I want to talk about that you need to consider when you check in is more twin specific. We travel with the Eurowings, and the policy with the Eurowings is that they only allow one baby per row. So you can't sit next to your partner when you have twins. This is because of the oxygen masks. There's only one extra oxygen mask per row. So if you sit two babies in one row, in case of an emergency, one person will be without an oxygen mask, and you never want that situation. They actually don't allow you. I don't know why their system permits you to check in and reserve the seats next to each other, but when you get on the flight, one of you has to be moved. So what we do is we sit behind each other, and that way we can communicate. The babies can see me, which keeps them calm, and we can share stuff like the snacks. We can, pass stuff to each other. Okay, and packing. When it comes to packing, always pack a bag with all your stuff and check that bag in. I know most airlines allow you to carry 8 kilos or 5 kilos depending on the flight of luggage, plus your handbag, plus the bag for the babies, but I don't recommend you to do that. Only take on the flight the things you will need for the flight and at the airport. This will definitely be less stress for you when it comes to boarding or disembarking or just managing your luggage in the airport. I carry with me a backpack. So does my partner. We just carry backpacks, and we put everything. We put the backpacks on our backs, and our hands are free. We can play with the babies. We can entertain the babies. Sometimes the babies even fall asleep on our arms, and that's not a problem. So talking about hand luggage, what is it that you need in your hand luggage? Like I said, only take what you need for the flight, nothing more, nothing less. You will need your travel documents, the diaper bag of the babies. Make sure you have lots of extra diapers than you will need. You will also need drinks for the babies, water, some snacks, some food. carry more than you need, because flights are delayed all the time, flights are cancelled all the time, and you don't want that to happen and you end up running out of diapers or running out of food. So always carry extra when it comes to that. And don't worry when it comes to the baby food about going over the fluid limit, because they allow you to take baby food and water and your formula. They put it in a special machine to check that everything is okay. And when you pack your hand luggage, make sure that stuff is at the top, because you don't want to start digging under your bag and removing stuff, to put the fluids at the top. So also make sure that your baby doesn't, if you can, make sure that the baby doesn't sleep in the stroller, because when you go through security you have to take the baby out and fold the stroller so that it goes through the scanning machine, and you also have to go through the big machine and hold your baby and then go through the security point. So if your baby sleeps, their sleep will be interrupted. Try to keep them awake until after the security, then you can just throw them into the stroller and they can sleep. So when you've gone past security, if you have toddlers that can walk, I would recommend you to let them run, let them play, let them walk. Most airports have like playgrounds. Go to the playground and wear the babies out, okay, so that when you board they just fall asleep and you can rest. Okay, because on the flight the babies are not the child is not going to be able to walk around. So if you keep them constrained in the stroller whilst at the airport, and then they can't walk around in the plane, they get really irritable and tired, and you're guaranteed to have tantrums. But if you're going to let them play at the little playgrounds or walk around and touch things, definitely make sure you have hand wipes that have disinfectant, or you wash the baby's hands. So I would also recommend that after you've gone through the check, try to feed the baby so that they're fully fed and they can fall asleep when you board the flight. And also chances are that they will poop after you've fed them, and then you can change the diaper and they're in a fresh clean diaper before you board the flight. So this happened to me on the last flight. You would think that every plane has a changing table. Most of them do have these foldable changing pans in the bathroom, but the last flight that I went on, I guess it was an old flight, they didn't have any changing facilities on the flight. And thank God the girls, none of them pooped. So, and it was just an hour and a half flight, so I waited and I changed them after we disembarked, when we had arrived at our destination. So always try to make sure that your baby has a fresh diaper, because you're not always guaranteed that you can change the baby on the flight. Okay. And now when it comes to boarding, most of the time people with children, well, not most, all the time people with children can board first. So just make sure you have your backpack. It's easier when you have your backpack. Just throw it on your back, fold your pram, okay? Don't carry your expensive stroller to the airport, because it can get damaged. We took our twin stroller on the first flight and we never did that again. They just mishandled it. It was dirty and it was all crumbled up when we got it, and that's so in the end we ended up getting cheap strollers. I think we got them for like 40 bucks. They're the strollers that you see on the thumbnail, and that works perfect. If it gets damaged, oh well, you know, it's not the expensive twin stroller or your expensive, you know, whatever you have. Okay, so when it comes to boarding, people with kids board first. You can just board and get yourself situated. Make sure you have toys for the children, and make sure it's nothing that has small pieces. Like, I wouldn't recommend puzzles. I know puzzles can get them entertained for a while, but you end up having pieces under the other passenger seats, or things flying around. So I would say books, definitely something with music, something with the visual, depending on how old your kids are. Ours are still too small for iPads, so we don't do iPads, but we definitely have like music books, and just books in general. Just take whatever your child likes, and I would recommend that get their favorite toys and hide them for like a week before your trip, so that they're so excited when they see these things and they can play and entertain themselves much longer. So there's really no huge trick or secret to surviving the flight. Just go with the flow and do what your child needs. If your child is getting agitated and doesn't want to sit, walk up and down the aisles and try to soothe your baby to sleep. At some point they will sleep, and just keep them happy, give them snacks, give them more than you would give them, you know, do whatever your baby likes to survive the flight. And yeah, so I hope you like this video, and I hope it will help you to plan your next trip. Please like the video if you liked it, and if you haven't subscribed, please subscribe. Also follow us on Instagram. I will link that down below. And yeah, thank you guys for watching my video. Bye.